Okay, we're live. Okay, hang on a second. I'm booting up myself, so I got two phones here. I'm actually going to be running one during the live stream and one actually trying to get to the chat room. I just had to open up my subscription and find it. There we go. Perfect. There we go. Perfect. Well, I figured out the solution to, hold on a sec. I figured out the solution to, there we go, the phone situation where, how my new phone was kept getting thrown from the bicycle and stuff. I'm here at the mall. I actually had to go pick up another SIM card this morning, so I could have a SIM in each of my actual phones. And that's when I decided, you know what, I'm just going to run my old crappy A13, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's not crappy. It's got the 500 gigabyte chip in it now from my old phone that the GPU went out on. And I put it in this one, so it's got plenty of storage. Internal-wise, it only has 50 gig memory. But yeah, so I came down to actually re-top up the card, you know, the SIM card, and I found an actual case for it. So this is what's going to be strapped to my handlebars. If it gets thrown clear, you know, it's just the cheaper phone that I've had. And I downloaded the Strava and the the Relive app, and that's what's going to be recording. That way I'm not taxing my processor on my new phone. And at the same time, it's just, you know, it's like I can put this through the, you know, I can put the stress of the workload on this thing. So anyway, this is going to be more or less in my pocket the whole time. I'm going to use this for my editing and all that. This morning I did a live stream just to kind of catch up everybody, what's going on. And I'll probably put in a cut of that at the beginning of this. And that's it, guys. I'm going to hit the road anyway. It's 1:14. I came over here. I packed my bags, came over here, got the card, linked both of my accounts together on YouTube so that I'm a manager. My American Hobo 2 is linked to my American Hobo 1 account, and I'm managers on both accounts, so I can edit from either side. So I've been just doing stuff like that this morning. So it's a very late start, and I'm very tempted to go back over to the hostel and stay another night, because really from here on out, I'm pretty sure it's all just going to be camping. You know, a whole lot of camping, because I didn't see anything on accommodations. So, yeah. So, but procrastination is the killer of dreams. If I don't get out there and just start pedaling and see how many kilometers, because before dark, I still got 6 hours of pedaling I can do, and I can even pedal into dark. It's just hard to find a camp spot afterwards. So with all that said, I'm going to push ahead. Everything's done. I'm going to use this as the workhorse for recording my Relive, so I can have that little cut at the end, and you know, the little trail that I made, and the Strava for the people that like to know the exact roads I was on. So, and if this takes a spill, it's a replaceable phone. All right, guys, that's all caught up. Let's hit the road. Let's get this going, and let's start pedaling ahead, see what life's got ahead of us. All right, let's hit the road. Okay, there's going to be a rerouting I'm doing here. Something I noticed, I had the, sorry, I'm wearing my mic, guys, so the problem we had yesterday with it being muffled, I'm going to find out today if it was a problem with the mic or if it was just the shirt folded over and the mic leaning up against my body. But so there's a reroute. This was the original route I was going to take. That's the scooter route. And when I put in for the walking route, it changed. So let me take some screenshots of this. That way you guys can see. Okay, so this is the walking route. The difference is it bypasses the bridge altogether. Takes me way northern before it starts dropping down south again to get to Bandar Penawar. I'm going to Bandar Penawar because I thought it was a straight route all the way to the coast. But what happens is the E22, the bridge, is the expressway. And Google's Maps fails to mention that. I downloaded organic maps again on my old phone and brought it up, and it said expressway. So I can't take the bike on the expressway. I just didn't know that. I guess E stands for expressway, E22. So I'll try and remember that in the future. I'm not sure if that's true, but yeah. So no go on that route. I'm gonna be shooting for Kota, what is it, Kota Tinggi, which seems to be, it's gonna be on the 3, going on the 3 for 33 kilometers from here. But luckily I caught it now, because any further that way I wouldn't have been able to go north. This was the last opportunity to actually go north on this street. And so I'm glad I caught it. Otherwise I would have gotten all the way over there, been turned around, had to come all the way basically back to this location before I could go north. So that's so I lucked out on that one. So yeah, change of plans, change the route, new location. After I get there, I'm not going to drop back down south. I'm just going to continue on the 3 until it hits the 212, and then all the way over on the 212 till I hit Tanjung Sedeli. Anyway, all that spelling I'll put down below if I remember. All right, guys, that's the change of plan, change of route. Well, it's going on 6:25 right now. I just had something to eat, and I was coming across this up on the hill. So this all looks like, this is all like pretty well open. I mean, it's been recently mowed, like, you know, taken care of, so that's a good sign. That means they won't be over here mowing again for a day or two. There's some businesses right here, like there's a 99 Speed Mart, stuff like that. There's a fitness, obviously, that's what the big building is. But like just everything. Even that side's nice. It just, that'd be too steep to get my bicycle up. It doesn't show it on video, but that's a bit of a hill. I mean, it wouldn't be that hard, but it would be obvious that I'm pushing my bicycle up to the top of it. Where this is not so obvious right here. And if I got back in that area back there, even those trees right there, there's some signs I could actually kind of do a stealth camp behind. Some billboard signs and stuff. And then it looks down on the main road. And I think I should take advantage of it. So right now I'm scouting out a camping spot. Not because, well, yeah, I mean, it's 6:25, so I mean, it's still got about an hour. Might want to start thinking about it. There seems to be a lot of people out for walks and jogs though in this location. And I was looking at the Google satellite view, and this whole area over here is open. Like there's nothing over here. There's they just haven't built it up. You know, it's probably all commercial area. Commercial means private property, but it's owned by some LTD somewhere that they just haven't developed it yet. So scouting out a location for camping, and also got to check the weather. Business wise, in the morning I can get my caffeine over at the 99 Speed Mart, and it doesn't seem super busy. This seems like a nice little location to actually be nice and safe. So I think I'm going to take advantage of the fact that I can sneak off right back there and have a nice private area looking down on the main road. So that's the plan for now. Yeah, this looks very prime for camping. Main road's kind of over there. Actually, that's not the main road. The freeway or the highway is right there. Like, so this looks like super peaceful back here. That's a little too high in grass, and but this well-maintained area over here, I'm going to go back to, I'm not sure if you can see them right in the distance there. There are some signs right there, some billboards. I'm going to go see if I can throw up a hammock between, on the back side of the billboards. I'm not sure if you guys ever remember it, but Steve Wallace, I think, made his own fake billboard and like camped behind it. And yeah, Steve Wallace is kind of cool because he's been doing lots like the fake bear trap where he slept in the back of it, the pallet, you know, little camper that he made. It looked like just a thing of pallets, you know. But I mean, he's got some good ideas, but that billboard right there is what I'm looking at. Anyway, I'm gonna get over there. So here it is in all its glory. This is what I'm looking at. I don't see any loose paneling up there that could get, the wind could blow off and hit me. Plus, I think that's all just canvas. No, that's rusted right there. So this is metal sheeting. It's not canvas. So hopefully it's in good enough condition. It is right by the freeway here. This is the 3 down here. So like, I'll choose the one that I can tuck back the farthest. I'll just have to worry about oncoming traffic here, possibly seeing me set up there. So I think my best bet would be right back here on this one, because them coming from this way, they're not going to see me until the last second, and this tree right here shades me as much until the last minute of them getting on. So I think this is the best bet right here. And like I said, that metal looks like it's like in there good enough. I only saw one pair of tire tracks coming up here, but that's probably, like I said, the people that were here for mowing the grass, because it looks like it was just done recently. And I don't see any hobo trash, so it doesn't seem like a notorious spot to camp. Yeah, I don't know what this blue fence is right here. I mean, it's construction, obviously. They're building something, but I think this is actually fairly good privacy, just for the night anyway. You know, it's not like I'm setting up a permanent camp here. So, anyway, yeah, let's count it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That is tight. That is really tight. We can do it on 7 though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. More like 6 because of the lean of the bar. All right, well, if I have to move it over to this side to get a longer stretch, I will. Actually, that might be the better way of doing it. If I would, this one, nah, because you get too much exposure from the on-ramp right there. Because I would be actually sitting like this in the full exposure, yeah. Nah, I'm good. I'll go ahead and set up where I'm setting up. And let me go explore though. So yeah, so I got high ground, which is an advantage anyway. And no one's gonna surprise me in the morning over here. This construction site looks like. Let me peek underneath. Yeah, I'm good. There ain't nothing over there that I gotta worry about. All right, guys. Looks like I found my camping area for the night. All right, well, I'm gonna set up my hammock. I was trying to figure out the best way to keep this in frame, and I figured just keep the facial tracking on it. That way it kind of keeps me centered. I mean, I probably look like a little ant on the center of the screen there, but it's one way I can just kind of BS and also put this up. It's supposed to rain by midnight tonight, and it's supposed to continue on for a few hours, so I'm gonna have to get a hammock, and you can kind of see it in the sky. The sky's looking a little heavy, so I got to get up my tarp too. Luckily there's some rocks there I can tie off to the metal poles, but the tarp's kind of tricky when if the tree that you want to tie off to, or the bush or whatever, is not in the right position, like the exact right position, I mean, give or take a few inches, then it's hard to stretch your tarp right. And I mean, it's good to have a good, nice, tight, taut tarp, because the wind likes to whip around everything, man. And yeah, and it depends on which one I'm setting up. The bigger one, the wind can blow around the bigger one. The bigger, the hex, what's called the hex fly. The hex fly is the large one that's got plenty of room underneath. It can take a whipping and I can stay dry, but that smaller one just barely covers just big enough to keep the rain, if the rain's coming directly down, like a light rain. So, but I like the small one for stealth reasons. It's harder to see from a distance, and yeah. So the closer together the poles, the lower you can have this. You don't need to set it as high because you're not going to have that much of a difference. And never tie the knots good the first time, because you have to adjust back and forth to actually see where you actually want everything. So just a real quick tie. A tie over here, and that's about right. So I can actually, now someone's probably yelling at me because there's a tree hugger straps I can use, but I can also just tie off using I can tie off just using my rope. It's good to use the tree hugger straps because it saves your rope. The twisting that's always done on the, like it saves, because this rope's actually a permanent rope. I know I'm going back and forth. This rope's a permanent rope. And you don't really want to replace it because I could send this in to Hennessy Hammock and they would repair it for me. But that's going to cost money. So if you use those straps, which are like seatbelt straps, one, they're lighter on the trees. They're better on the bark, but really those tree huggers are just so you save your rope and you don't wear out your rope fast, because those tree huggers, you can just replace them. What do those tree huggers look like? I don't know, because I don't know where it's at. I don't know what I did with them. So they're somewhere here. They're probably in the tarp. They're probably in this thing, but yeah, so I got to prepare for the rain tonight, guys. I only got 30 kilometers, and here's the tree huggers. They're the same material that the seat belts are made out of, and all the hammock campers know what these are. But for you, the ones that don't, and normally you want to actually, the quickest way to do it is to feed one through the other one, and then pull tight, because then that puts a choke on it and it won't slide up and down, and you just hang your hammock from this one. That's what most people do. Although, like, if you watch any of the Hennessy hammock videos, the how-to, it's like they put the rope through both of these, then tie off. It's just, I don't think I know anybody that actually does it that way. But to each his own. All right, guys, I'm gonna get this up, and I'm not gonna use the tree huggers because tree huggers usually just extend the distance even more. And since we're so close together on that, I'm just gonna tie off with my ropes. A little wear and tear on the ropes aren't gonna hurt. All right. Now we're talking. Now we're at a good height. I had to drop down a little, a few inches, because I don't know, too much on the tippy toes while I'm sitting. I like flat feet while I'm sitting down, and the lower the better anyway. You know, all you need to do is drop your head. If you drop your head down a few inches, you don't have to drop both sides, because it's better to have your feet higher and your head lower. That way you don't go sliding. I mean, if your feet are lower, you have a tendency to slide towards your feet, but vice versa, it doesn't seem to happen. You know, if your head's lower, it's not like your body slides towards your head for some reason. I don't know why that is, but it keeps you situated in the hammock better. Anyway, guys, it felt good to actually get back on the road, even though I didn't cover any kilometers today. I was like, what was it? I guess it was later than 12 o'clock when I took off. Yeah, it was, for some reason in my brain, that it was 12 o'clock when I took off. And I'm like, 30 kilometers in 6 hours. That's only 5 kilometers an hour. But I guess it was closer to like 2 o'clock by the time I did start pedaling. So that's 4 hours. And then I stopped, got something to eat here. But yeah, I just really seem to be moving slow. But I can feel the weather moving in. I can feel the drop in the temperature, and yeah, so I'm gonna get everything set up. It was good to have my old phone up and running again. Actually, I've been using it a lot. It seems to be just a good phone. So the bad part about it was that we only had 50 gigabytes internal memory, because it's an A13. It's an older phone. But I don't know. I'm kind of curious to see what the processor's like running the UCut app on it and seeing if it stresses it out. Well, the UCut app even kind of stresses out my newest phone with the Snapdragon Elite in it, and I'm surprised. I'm like, well, that's a heavy load that, you know, editing puts on your GPU and stuff like that, and everything else in your processor. So kind of wonder if that's why my old phone actually took a dump so quickly. Is just I was putting such a workload on it that the GPU went out on it. But I'm not like a super tech guy here. I just know enough to, you know, buy the parts that I don't really need. I know enough to actually kind of understand what someone's telling me what I need to do or what I did wrong or something. That's where I'm at, because I used to really like being into computers and stuff like that, but then it was like you know, that kind of just wore off, and I went for the traveling instead. But yeah. All right, guys. Let's see. The day's over. Not much of an adventure today. I got to make a thumbnail for yesterday's video and put it up, and then I got to edit tonight's. Yeah. So that's the plan. I'm already tired. I'm gonna start to weatherproof my thing, my hammock, and yeah. Well, first night camping, guys. Expect a lot of these, because I'm just gonna be finding spots everywhere, and a lot of them are gonna be like this, believe it or not, because this I kind of know how to do. I don't call it stealth camping though. I call it being homeless. The original stealth campers, but yeah, it's good to be back out. You know, it's gonna. If I stay in one spot for too long, I start to feel uncomfortable. You know, I mean, yeah. If I'm living somewhere, like when I was living in the tent in Tennessee, I was planning on living there. You know, I wasn't planning on continuing my travels for a while and stuff. So, you know, I built up a library of books and stuff inside my 7-man tent. You know, I filled up 6 men of the 7 were books, and it was very comfortable though. I did 4 winters there. Yeah, 3 years, 4 winters, because I moved during winter. And right off the bat, the first winter is always the worst, because you have to learn how to winterize your stuff. You can winterize everything you want, but the first rain, you're going to figure out where the leaks are, and the first really bad cold snap, you're going to figure out what you need to do to actually get it warmer. But after you have the little buddy heater and the bigger propane, and you have everything, what do you say, insulated enough where you don't suffocate yourself, because that is a problem. People do actually accidentally kill themselves by winterizing their tents so much with tarp over tarp that they end up, well, basically suffocating themselves. They go to sleep and don't wake back up. Carbon monoxide poisoning. So that is a major problem. I've almost done it myself a few times. Car camping once, because I was in Reno, and Reno got down to sub-0 degrees type weather, and I was working at the Calneva as a craps dealer and blackjack dealer, roulette. But I also was living in Lincoln, so I had to go over what was called Donner's Pass. That was the Donner Party, where they try to make a shortcut over the Sierra Mountains into California, and a freak winter hit, and they got stuck out there, and some of them turned cannibal and stuff like that to survive. At least that's what they assume, because when they examined the bones and stuff, there was like marks, like tool marks on the bones and stuff, I think. But yeah, so Donner's Party, that pass is called the Donner's Pass because that was the shortcut they were taking. Now it's just the 80 that goes from Sacramento all the way up over Auburn, California, and into Reno. Past Tahoe and, well, Truckee, and then Tahoe's on the right. And anyway, that got snowed out every year. And when I would go over and to work, it was easier just for me to stay in the parking lot, even when it wasn't snowed out, for the whole week and just work, and then during the weekend go back to Lincoln, and where my sister was at, my mom was at, and all that, and hang out with family for the weekend, and then right back to sleeping in the Calneva parking lot, where I worked. And I decided one time, I was like, you know what, I better I better move around a little, right? Like try a different parking lot. Even though I worked at the Calneva, they would have probably just looked the other way. I went over to the Circus parking lot, right? And I have like black construction paper on the inside of my, it was a Dodge Magnum, the wagon style one, you know. I slept in the back of that one, you know, the station wagon style, the super hot rod station wagon. I had that when it first came out, and I was sleeping in the back of that, and the payments on that was crazy, man. Like, you know, $400 a month, you know, and it was just like, you know, I couldn't afford it. Eventually I lost it because the payments were too high, and then the insurance was crazy because it was considered a sports car. But I bought it when I was working in Vegas, and I couldn't, yeah, anyway. So I was sleeping in the back of that, and since the windows were tinted, cops love to come up with their flashlight anyway, so I put like that black construction paper on the inside where it was cut out perfect, so you couldn't see it, just like, but if you put a flashlight up to it, you couldn't see all the way in. And if they knock on the windows and stuff like that, you just ignore them. You ignore them, they eventually go away. Well, they didn't this time. Security was knocking on my windows, and they couldn't see in because of black construction paper, right? So they called the cops, and I'm just ignoring them, like, just ignore them, they go away, because I'm sleeping in the back. But I hear what's going on, and like, eventually they'll go away. Well, they didn't. They ended up closing down the whole block, because they thought I had one of those solar panel things to keep my battery. It's a trickle charge, right? Solar panel. I put that in the window, the front window, to slowly keep my battery good, because I'm basically trolling. Trolling is like when you stay in one spot. It's trolling is like if you have an RV and you look for batteries that are trolling batteries, and you know. They're thicker plates, metal plates on the inside, so they hold a longer charge. Anyway, so yeah, they thought, they weren't sure if there was a bomb in the back, or someone's growing something in the back of it, or you know, what was the deal. So they ended up closing down the whole block, all the way around the parking lot and stuff. Eventually it was like, I heard they were getting ready to break the window. They're like, well, we gotta break the window, find out what's in the back. I was like, wait a second. I opened the door, and they're like, you didn't hear us knocking? I'm like, no, I'm sorry, I was a heavy sleeper. I did hear them knocking, and I'm not going to admit to it, right? So, yeah, so they couldn't do anything, though. I mean, because the reason why is I really wasn't trespassing, because they had to read you the trespassing law, like, don't come back on the property, then they can arrest you. But sleeping in the back of your car is not really illegal, you know? So it's like, so all they could do was kick me out after closing down the whole block all the way around the parking lot, not letting anybody into the big old, like, 5 or 6 story parking lot and stuff like this, closing off everything. My friend that I worked with, me and him used to hang out, and he said he saw, yeah, he said that whole, yeah, he's like, man, he goes, that freaked me out, because he knew it was me, right? He knew the whole thing was because of me. So he's like, man, you had the whole place shut down. And yeah, so anyway, security guards can go way overboard sometimes. But they had the help of the police too. So anyway, that's one of my stories. That's my hobo ramble of an incident that just got carried away too far while I was trying to sleep in a parking lot. So needless to say, they told me never to come back to the parking lot at Circus again. So that's funny. Anyway, guys, that's a ramble. That's a long ramble, and I'm gonna turn it off, get my tarp up, and start the editing. All right, bye, y'all. See you tomorrow.